Next week, you'll be by my side, and I'll cherish you in a way you've never experienced before. I've waited for this moment, and when it arrives, I'll show you how deep my feelings run. Your thoughts may wander, but soon they will be filled with nothing but me and us. The anticipation is building, and when the time comes, I'll make sure you feel it all. In my heart, I know you're already mine. Soon, you'll understand what I mean. When I finally hold you, every moment will be filled with warmth, connection, and tenderness. You may try to resist, but next week, you'll feel something powerful between us. The thought of you with me next week sends a wave of excitement through my heart. Every thought I have of you only makes me more eager to share this journey together. Next week isn't just a date, it's the moment when everything changes between us. You already belong to me in my heart, but soon you'll feel it in every part of your being. What we share next week will be unforgettable, an experience of deep connection and love. I can't wait to make every moment together unforgettable, leaving you with nothing but joy. Next week, all our hidden desires will come to life, and I'll make sure you feel every bit of it. Your heart may race now, but just wait until next week when we're finally together. The thought of having you by my side fills me with anticipation. Soon, it will be even better. I'll make you feel seen, heard, and cared for in ways you've never known. Every second until next week will be filled with excitement, knowing that soon you'll be here. I'll make sure next week you feel completely appreciated, your heart full of joy and connection. When I hold you next week, every moment will feel like a deep, soulful embrace. Every thought of you stirs something inside me, a connection I can't wait to explore with you. You'll feel my care for you next week, every action a reflection of the love I have. Next week, everything we've imagined will become real, and I'll make sure it's unforgettable. There's no turning back now. Next week, we'll begin a journey that will change everything. You won't know what to expect, but when it happens, it will be everything you've hoped for. Next week, I'll take your hand and show you how deeply I feel for you. Your thoughts may wander now, but soon you'll be consumed with the warmth of our connection. The anticipation of next week has me excited for what we will share together. I won't just be with you next week. I'll be there for you in ways that will leave you feeling loved. Next week, we'll take this connection to new heights, and it will leave us both breathless with joy. The thought of taking this step with you next week fills me with excitement and tenderness. Next week, you'll experience a side of me that's full of warmth and love. When we meet next week, you'll understand how deeply my feelings go for you. Every moment with you next week will be filled with passion and deep connection. Next week will be a turning point, a time when our bond becomes even stronger. You can feel the pull between us now, but next week we'll explore it fully. Next week, we'll embrace each other in a way that will make everything else fade away. When the time comes, I'll be there for you, and you'll feel the depth of my care and affection. The thought of you next week has me imagining how perfect it will be to share every moment with you. Next week, we'll share something unforgettable, a moment of pure joy and connection. In the quiet of my heart, I already know how special next week will be for us. I've waited long enough. Next week, I'll show you just how much I care for you. Every moment until next week, I'll be anticipating the joy we'll share together. Next week, we'll explore this connection, and I'll make sure you feel loved every moment. The wait will be worth it. Next week, I'll show you how much you mean to me. When the time finally arrives, I'll be ready to give you my full heart, leaving nothing unsaid. Next week, you'll feel my presence in ways that will make you feel completely cherished. Soon, everything will align, and next week, we'll experience something beautiful together. You can feel the pull now, but next week, you'll see just how deep our connection runs. When we're together next week, every touch will be a reminder of how much I care. The moments leading to next week are filled with excitement, but nothing will compare to when we finally meet. I'll hold you next week, and with every gesture, I'll remind you of my deep affection for you. Next week will be our moment, a time when I'll show you how much you mean to me. I won't just be with you next week. I'll make sure you feel cherished, cared for, and loved. Next week, when we're together, every moment will be filled with pure connection and affection. The wait will be unbearable, but next week, I'll make every second count with you. You can't stop thinking about it now, but wait until next week when we'll finally be together. Next week, when you're finally with me, the world will fade away and we'll be lost in the moment. All the waiting will be worth it when we share our time together next week, creating memories we'll cherish forever. Next week, I'll show you how much you mean to me, and you'll feel loved in every possible way. Next week, our connection will grow stronger, and I'll make sure you feel cherished every moment. Every thought of you leads me closer to next week, when we'll finally be together in a way that will change everything. I'm counting the days until next week when I can hold you and show you how much you mean to me. When we meet next week, I'll be ready to give you everything you've been waiting for. Next week, I'll be there for you, and you'll feel how deeply I care with every touch and word. The anticipation is building, and soon I'll show you just how much you've been on my mind. Every moment until next week will be filled with excitement, knowing that soon we'll finally be together. I can already feel the warmth of your presence in my heart, and next week we'll make that feeling real. Next week will be the start of something beautiful, a time when we'll create unforgettable memories together. When we're together next week, I'll make sure every moment is filled with tenderness and love. I've dreamed of this moment for so long, and next week I'll finally have you in my arms. Next week, I'll show you the depth of my affection, making sure you feel loved and cared for in every way. The thought of next week fills me with excitement, knowing that every moment with you will be unforgettable. Every day that passes brings us closer to next week, when I can make you feel completely special. Next week, I'll be there to hold you close, and together we'll create memories that last a lifetime. Our bond will grow even stronger next week, and I'll make sure you feel how deeply you matter to me. When I see you next week, I'll show you all the love I've been holding for you in my heart. Next week, we'll share something beautiful, a moment that will be forever etched in our hearts. Every moment spent waiting will be worth it when we finally come together next week. Next week, I'll be the one to make you feel seen, heard, and loved in a way you've always deserved. The moment we meet next week, I'll make sure you know just how special you are to me. Every thought of next week fills me with excitement, knowing that it will be a moment we both cherish. Next week, I'll be there for you, making sure every part of our time together is filled with joy and connection. Soon we'll be together, and I'll make sure that every moment we share will be unforgettable. Next week, I'll hold you close and show you that everything you've ever wanted is right here with me. The anticipation of next week makes my heart race, knowing that we'll finally be able to experience this connection. I'll make sure next week is filled with all the love, warmth, and tenderness you've been waiting for. When we're together next week, I'll remind you how much you mean to me with every word and every gesture. Next week, we'll take this connection to new heights, and you'll feel every ounce of my love for you. Every day that passes is one step closer to the moment when we'll finally be together next week. Next week, we'll create memories that will last a lifetime, moments filled with nothing but love and affection. I can't wait for next week, when I'll show you just how deeply I care, making every second together count.